Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 31 of the show. How are you doing? I had a very special guest on today. Some of you may know who he is. A very talented basketball player, football player. I found out he does track, which I didn't know beforehand. Kai Brown from Beaver High School. We've texted a few times, but this was the first time I ever actually spoke to him, and just one of the nicest kids I've ever met, like genuinely. Was not expecting that. So yeah, we talked about some good stuff, just kind of his work ethic and motivation towards his sports and what he's gonna do after high school, the sort of that part of his life. So it was a good time. And let's just get right into it. Broc Gardner versus the world. Hi, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up?
Not a lot. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Thanks for coming on the show, first of all. We're just gonna get right into it. I wanted to have you on the show. When I was making a list of people, because I'm starting to move more towards interviews and stuff, so I'm trying to find more people to interview, that kind of thing. And you were one of the first people I thought of, just because, like, do you feel like you're an icon, like you're a celebrity almost around here? Do you ever feel like that?
Oh, bro.
Seriously?
No.
You seem like
No.
that. From an outsider looking in, it's like, if you go to any school around here and you say Kai Brown, they're like, yeah, I know Kai Brown. I know Kai Brown. I don't know.
I have lots of friends all over, so I don't know. I new friends and talking to people, so
Yeah, that's great. So what sports are you a part of right now?
so right now, I play football.
Mhm.
I play wide receiver and safety
Yeah.
for our football team. And then basketball. I play for our high school team, and then I do AAU ball, which is like travel ball.
Gotcha.
Play all year as much as I can. Do camps, whenever I can. And then I'm part of the track team right now too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how many state championships out of all your sports have you been a part of? Like every single one? Because you've been a few, right?
Yeah. So actually growing up, like that's my middle school ages. I was a manager for our football team, and I was there for like 2 of their state championships. So I got to see some of the guys win, and I thought it was super cool just to see them win, and I looked up to them. So I wanted to be like them.
Yeah.
And so my freshman year, our football team, we lost state championship to South Summit in football. And then went on to basketball season, and I was able to play some varsity basketball, which I'm super grateful for and blessed that I was able to do that.
Yeah.
I was able to play, and we took state that year. We played some super good teams, and that was a super awesome experience as a freshman to play big minutes, take state. And then just this last school year, my junior year, we took state in football. We went undefeated, and then basketball came along, and we took state in basketball too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really think we could have taken state in track last year too. We had lots of awesome seniors that were on our team, and they were super awesome, and we were doing really good there. So,
but I got cut short.
Yeah,
that's a shame. What do you do in track? What events?
So I haven't done a ton of track, but I'm more of a distance runner.
Yeah.
I have pretty good endurance. I've been blessed with. So
yeah.
I do more of the longer runs, like the mile, and I've ran the 400 and 800 a little, and I was trying some high jump last year, but I was just getting started into that. And
yeah.
So you've been a part of a few state championships. I quit sports when I was a sophomore just because I kind of did it my whole life, but I wasn't really into it, I guess. I'm more into like this kind of stuff, like podcasting. So I haven't been a part of like state championships, but when I was wrestling, every single match is just that feeling in your stomach, you know what I mean? Like you just get those butterflies. And so I've never had to do a championship. So what is it like going into a state championship game versus like just a normal one? Is it different at all, the feeling?
So it's definitely a different feeling. Like, I don't know. I know for me, when there's pressure or it's a bigger game or something, I don't really get nervous. Honestly, I get more excited and hyped than nervous because I love challenges and challenging myself. And I've just been taught to embrace challenges from the time I was a little kid and just do my best in those situations. And I know if I prepare myself the best I can, that there's nothing else I can really do. So
it's not a different mindset at all.
Not really for me. No, I just
the same.
Yeah, just lots more exciting at times, I would say.
Yeah. So have you been doing sports since forever, like since you were a kid and everything? Or how'd you get into it?
So, funny story. My first word as a little kid was actually the word ball.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fitting.
I mean, I've loved sports.
Yeah.
My whole life, and it's just a big part of my life. So.
Yeah, you can tell. Because Beaver, look, people in my town, I'm from Enterprise. I didn't know if you knew that beforehand. But people in my town despise Beaver. Like, just absolutely. They have such a hatred, and I don't care because I'm not really invested. Like, I would like us to do good, but you guys are just good at everything, you know? So, like, people in my town just despise Beaver. Like, people are mad that I'm having you on this podcast right now just because you're from Beaver. It's so strange to me, but it's just like,
man.
like, what sets you apart as like a town, as a school? Because you've always been good. So, like, what do you think you guys do differently compared to other teams?
Honestly, I know we have a great community here. We have awesome fans and a huge support system, honestly. And I think that helps us a lot. Like, everyone's super committed to our sports programs here.
Yeah.
They just will do anything for them, basically. Like, we have awesome coaches. We have an awesome athletic director, principal. They all help out tons. And, yeah, I don't know. They
So
just do
it's
everything.
the whole community's attitude, you think?
Yeah, I feel like it's our whole community. They're just supportive and will do anything for it. So
yeah, it's just interesting. You guys are just good at, especially football and basketball and wrestling. You guys were just this year, especially with football, you guys are just killing it. Like, based on all the scores I've seen and based on our game last freaking week. You made us look a little bit ridiculous, to be honest.
Oh man.
But yeah, I'm just curious. What do you guys do for practice? Because I've heard for football, because I've heard something in particular, but I want to see if that's confirmed. Are you at liberty to tell me that?
Honestly, we do. We all work hard and push each other at practice every day. All of us, we work hard, and I don't know. We do lots of the same stuff, but there's nothing. I don't know if I would say there's anything in particular that's just super out there that's different. I don't know how other teams, but I just know that we push each other to be better. Yeah, we're all super competitive and just push each other.
Yeah. Well, what I heard was that one day you watch film, one day for practice you just lift weights, and then one day you're like full pads, and then one day is just a walkthrough. That's what I heard.
So we watch film quite a bit. We watch quite a bit of film.
Yeah.
Because we like to be super prepared and just know what's going on. And we lift weights too we do that once a week. And then there's lots of kids that just go and lift on their own time, or they have weights class with Coach Hillock, who is our basketball coach. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we push each other all to be better because we're all super competitive and we want to win.
Yeah, that's good. You got to have that in a sports team. And I don't know. It just takes a certain type of kid. You guys have like 24 seniors this year, right? On your football team?
Yeah.
That's wild. Somebody showed me a picture just of the wall of your seniors, and it's just, that's a lot. But, so what do you do personally I'm more interested in the basketball because I think you're a good football player, but I really see you excel in basketball. So what do you do for that? Like during the season, what do you do to prepare for that? Like just on the daily basis?
So I would say on a day that like how I want it to go, like sometimes you have days that you just can't fit everything in.
Yeah.
But I like to wake up early around like 5:30, 5:45 and go shoot hoops in the morning before school. And then go to school, come home, eat some food, go to practice, keep working out, and lift when I can, do what I can there, and
So it's nothing crazy. You're just working at it.
Gym working.
Yeah. Well, that's good. When you weightlift, what's it look like? Like, what's your regimen?
So like I said, like right now, I'm in a weights class with Coach Hillock every other day at school, which is nice that you don't have to go in, like make time. You can just go in that class period, whatever, work out, work hard. I've tried to focus on my vertical and increasing that a little. And one of the big focuses has been trying to gain weight forever, but it hasn't too much stuff, but
gotcha.
trying.
So you mentioned your basketball coach, and where did he coach before? Didn't he coach at a college?
He's coached at quite a few colleges. Yeah. He's coached at Gonzaga, UCLA, SUU. He's coached lots of places. He knows tons about basketball, and he gets us super prepared too. He knows tons about the game, and he just does a really good job with us.
He seems super intimidating when I'm watching you guys play. Is he intimidating in real life, or is it just like?
He definitely can be at times. He's just a good coach, and he knows what he has to do to get out of us.
Yeah.
What he wants to get out of us. I don't know.
Yeah. So with someone like you, I feel like most of the time you're doing stuff to do with sports, but if you're not, what are you doing? Like, what's your hobbies besides that, if you have any?
So I work for my dad. I mow lawns for him. He started a lawn mowing business super young, like 8 or 9. And it's been going since then, and I kind of run that for him.
Yeah.
And help with that. And then I love listening to music. I've played the piano and the guitar. I love playing the guitar. It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know, hang out with friends, eating lots of food.
Yeah. What kind of music are you listening to?
Traveling.
Yeah.
I honestly like pretty much all types of music. I like hip rap, but I like country, all genres basically, honestly.
Yeah. What rap you listening to? Because rap's kind of my genre.
One of my favorites, honestly, is Juice WRLD.
Yeah.
I like Juice WRLD. Ian Dior is good. There's lots of good ones. I don't know. Those are.
Did you listen to Juice WRLD's new album?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it.
I heard a lot of mixed reviews about that, but I still haven't listened to it. I'm gonna have to try that. So what do you see after your senior year? Are you looking for playing sports in college, or what's that gonna be like?
So I'm planning to go on a mission,
Mhm.
and then hopefully after that come back and play some college basketball. Hopefully,
Yeah.
if everything right.
Yeah. So no career, nothing in
um.
particular.
So I'm not exactly 100% sure. I've thought about going into the medical field and
Mhm.
doing something there, but I'm not 100% sure. Like I've thought about going into orthodontics,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Yeah. That's what I've found, that most people our age, that's the place they're in, and they don't really know. And I feel like
Yeah.
we look at a lot of people and think that they all have their minds together, and we get a little worried, but nobody has any clue what they're doing, which is kind of great. That's kind of great to
Yeah.
know. So, when you get up in the morning, because I get up at like, on certain days I'm up at like 4:45 to go run, and so I know how it is to try and get up in the morning, and you kind of have
Yeah.
to have, you definitely have to have motivation, but it's not like one thing. Like for me, it has to change. Like I have different things that have to motivate me, particular to that day. So what kind of gets you out of bed in the morning, I guess you could say?
Um, I would say one of the biggest things is just working on being the best person I can be.
Yeah.
Um, I know when I was a little kid, my parents would push me to go way above and beyond what everyone else was doing. Like for
Mm-hmm.
example, I'd come home from school and I'd have my homework to do, and once I'd get all that done, I'd have to work on some extra homework stuff to just improve my academics.
Yeah.
Or when I was done with my homework, I'd have to go dribble around the block a couple times, and I'd have to do it 2 or 3 times more with my non-dominant hand,
Mm-hmm.
just to so everything was easier. Um, I'd definitely just say like just pushing myself in every aspect, just to be the best it can be.
Yeah. Well, that's good. What would you say your favorite sport is out of all the ones you do?
Definitely basketball.
Yeah.
Definitely, I love sports. Basketball's definitely my favorite.
Yeah. I got you. All right.
Yep.
Well, that's kind of all I had. Do you have anything you want to talk about or say?
Um, I think it's really cool what you're doing with your podcast.
Thanks, man.
Um, yeah,
I
uh,
appreciate that.
cool, different, and I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Well, I appreciate you coming on because I know you're busy. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
for sure, man.
So hopefully I'll have you on. Maybe when I have the studio, I'm working on it right now, getting it good. Maybe we'll get you in the
Sweet,
studio one day. Who
that'd
knows?
be cool.
Hey, all right. Talk to you later, man.
All right, man. We'll see you.
All right, all right, all right. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. That was Kai Brown. I really enjoyed talking to that kid. Uh, Seriously, when I said that a lot of people were mad at me, I was being dead serious. I would tell people that I was having that Kai on the podcast, and they'd just grimace. They just, is that the kid from Beaver? And it's like, yeah. I don't understand. Why do we have to have these little, like high school rivalries? Rivalries are fun, and everything like that. But it's just, why do we have to take it so far? We could unlock so many doors if we just kind of got past that. Like when we're playing football, you can hate Beaver all you want. But it's just like, I don't know. You kind of close doors when you shut off entire towns from your psyche. But I really enjoyed that conversation, and I appreciate Kai coming on. We only did about 20 minutes. He's a super busy kid, and I appreciate him taking the time out to come on the show and talk to us. So that was great. Now you're gonna have to listen to me ramble for no reason. But what more do you expect? I want to tell this story. I want to tell this story that happened over the weekend, and it has zero morals. Like, it has no point. There's no reason I should be telling you this. I just think it's a great story, and it might make you feel good because it's just a kind of a heartwarming story. There's many twists and turns, okay? There's potential murder, potential trafficking, a Mexican dog, and just a loving relationship between pet and owner. It's just a beautiful. Okay, let me just get into it. Saturday night, it's me, Matthew, and Tyler. We're at the car wash, and we're washing my truck. It's like 10:30. We're just super bored on a Saturday. Our old buddy Leah is walking down the street, and she's going for a walk. She sees us at the car wash. We talk for a second, and then she goes on her way. And then we pull out of the parking lot. As we're leaving, this Toyota Tacoma rolls up to Leah and stops and starts talking to her. We just kept going because we're terrible kids. So we get like halfway down the road, we get onto the highway, and all of a sudden, bring, Tyler gets a phone call, and it's Leah. And so he picks it up, and Leah says, these people don't know English, and they need help. And so we're like, okay, this is kind of weird. So we flip around, we go back, and we get out. And the first thing, it's like this old Hispanic couple, like probably in their 50s or 60s. This old Hispanic couple, and they are speaking like broken, like one English word per sentence. It's like jumbled, and then one English word. It was a nightmare. So we get out. First thing we hear, Leah is like, "Are you running from the police?" And they say, yeah. And so immediately I'm just like, oh, I don't want to be a part of this. There's been some crazy stuff going on. I don't want to be a part of this. No. But I went anyways because I don't know. I want adventure. So I went over there. And then the next question she asked immediately after that was, do you want us to call the police? And they're like, yeah. So then it kind of canceled. I was like, all right, they're probably not running from the police. They're like 50-year-old Mexican couple. And so, okay, I'm gonna do a Mexican impression, and I don't want any lip, okay? I am not racist. This is for the point of the story, okay? There was a language barrier, okay? So we roll up, and I'm like, what's the problem? And they're telling us to call the police. And I'm just like, okay, what for? And the old Hispanic man was just like, rodeo, the road go like this, and the road on the rodeo, and Joel Rancho. And so I'm just like, wait, slow down. And he also said little doggy, pequeño. And I'm like, okay. So from what I gathered was he was talking about the rodeo grounds, which is on like the outskirts of town. And what we figured was they lost their dog in the rodeo grounds, and they wanted us to call the police. And I'm like, listen, with this, it's not a police matter. I'm not going to call the police for your dog, but we can try and help you look for it. And he's like, yeah, you get in and we will go. And I'm like, no, sir. These guys are from Nevada too. They had Nevada plates. They're not people I know. And so I'm like, no, I'm not getting in your truck. I've learned from a young age, okay? You don't get in the truck with anybody. So I'm like, no, but we can follow you behind in my truck. And he's like, okay. And so we think we're going to the rodeo grounds. So we're following him. We pull up to the rodeo grounds, and immediately, like, the whole time I'm thinking, like, I'm not scared of this old couple, but they could be leading us to, like, some shady, not so young people that could murder us. And so we're driving, and we think we're going to the rodeo grounds, and we pull up to the rodeo grounds, and there's another truck in the parking lot. And we're like, oh, no. So I'm about to skirt off, but then they pass the rodeo grounds and keep going down this kind of country road. If you don't live in our town, you don't know what it is, but it's right by the rodeo grounds and kind of just goes out into this valley with a bunch of farms. And so he just keeps heading down that road. So next, we're like, all right, he said Joel Rancho. And there's this kid named Joel that lives kind of over here. So maybe he's going there. And so we're driving. And then he passes the dirt road to go to Joel's house. And we're like, okay. But then he stopped and turned around, missed the turn. So when he turns around, I get out and go talk to him again at his window. And at this point, I'm typing in questions to Google Translate, and I'm just showing it to him. So I first typed in, you lost your dog, ? Showed it. Yeah. He jumped out of your truck? Yeah. He jumped out. He jumped in the corn, in the corner of the field, in the corn. And I'm like, okay. So your dog jumped out in the cornfield. Can't find him. They said they've been looking for him for 2 hours. And they lived in Mesquite. And so I'm like, okay, I understand the situation now, because before we just didn't even know what was going on. And so now he said, also, you, also. So I'm like, all right, the dog's name is Oso. He wants us to follow him and yell Oso out the window. And so we're following them. We get behind them. We follow them around this cornfield. We're driving around a cornfield. Here, we'll watch the video right now. I'll pull up the video. We're driving around a literal cornfield at like 10:30 at night. Literally just trying to find these people's dog. And so at first we're like kind of laughing and stuff, because it's kind of a funny situation. But then we start hearing I started hearing the old Mexican woman yelling Oso, and I just hear the desperation in her voice. And I start getting emotionally invested in the situation. And I'm like, we gotta find this dog. Like, it goes from like kind of this weird situation to like, we have to find this freaking Mexican lady's dog, or I'm gonna not have a good day. And so we drive for probably 10 minutes, because we're going so slow around this cornfield and it was so dusty. Right after we watched the truck. I know what you're thinking. And so we're driving for like maybe 10 minutes around this cornfield. And everyone in our truck is just like, dude, this dog is dead. Like, there's no way it's still alive. There's no way we find it. There's literally no way we find this dog. But we keep going. And then they finally stop, like maybe 3/4 of the way around the field. They stop. And the guy gets out. And I'm like, all right, we just have to tell him that we have to go home, because I cannot be here any longer. So he comes to our truck, and he starts breaking down the game plan, bro. He's like, okay, you two go over there. He wants us to fan out and look for his dog. And I'm literally in the process of telling him that we have to go. I'm like, we have to go home. Like, our parents, I'm like tapping my watch. We got to go home. And he wasn't quite understanding me. And it was just this really awkward moment. And then, while I'm trying to explain that to him, all of a sudden I hear this little... And I'm like, there's literally no way. I'm just like, what is that? What is that? And everybody kind of is shocked. All of a sudden, this little Mexican dog pops out of the freaking cornfield. The corn stalks are like as high as the ceiling, and he just pops out of the cornfield and starts scampering towards the truck. And he's got this little leash on him, just dragging along the dirt. And everybody just started screaming, Oso! Yeah! Oso, we found you! We were going crazy, dude. Mexican woman picks up that dog and screaming, Oso, Oso, Oso! And I started crying. I started crying because it was just it was such a good moment in my life that we found those Mexican people's dog. It was so good. Everybody's just screaming and hollering that we found Oso. This Mexican, oh my goodness. So it started off as we were getting pretty scared because we thought we were gonna die. And then it ended up this beautiful story about these people that lost their dog and were reunited. And then I started looking at it from the dog's perspective, man. He was lost in that cornfield for hours. That must have been terrifying for him. It was just a good little anecdote. That's the feel-good story of the year right there. It's just, there's nothing better. There's nothing better than a dog and his family. And we helped them. Now, I don't know why they pulled over to talk to a girl who was alone, a teenage girl on the side of the street who was alone, to help them find it. That's a little interesting in my opinion. That's a little weird. But it's okay because nothing happened and we're all good. And they were so thankful and they were so happy and they got their little Oso back. And we led him back to the highway and then we parted ways. And it was this beautiful ending. And I've never felt so good in my life. And that may be a testament to how bad my life is. But it's just that I've never felt better in my life in a single moment than that one. When we found Oso. When I knew these people for half an hour. And the first 20 minutes of that hour, I thought they were going to murder me. It was a very interesting turn of events. It was a very interesting sequence of how this kind of played out, given the language barrier. We had no idea what was going on until the very end. So anyways, there's no point to that story. I really just wanted to tell it. It might make some of your weeks better. I have no idea. But yeah, there's not a lot. I was banking on doing an hour with Kai, but kid's busy, bro, and we almost didn't do it at all this week. But I appreciate him taking the time out. What about Trump, dude? I'm seeing so much stuff about Trump and his financials. You know, people are saying that New York Times came out with this article talking about his income tax and said he paid $750 in income taxes, I think 2016, which, if that's true, that is ridiculous. How rich is Trump, man? One of the richest dudes in the entire universe? Yeah, probably. $750? If that's true, that is crazy. And look, I'm not a Biden supporter whatsoever, and I'm not a Trump supporter whatsoever. I'm not an anybody supporter. I'm a me supporter. I support myself. I don't know, I feel like one of the things you have to have in your life is goals. You know what I mean? And right now I have a pretty serious one, which is this podcast, trying to get it off the ground and trying to get people actually listening to it and trying to make a career for myself. And I feel like people need more of those types of goals and accomplishments they want, because when you have stuff like this, when you're so busy that you don't even have time to worry about what Donald Trump said or what Biden said, that is the good life. I just spit all over my laptop. I don't give a darn. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like all the people that really care about politics, like really, really get into it, they just don't have anything else going on, because you have to be so bored to care. Genuinely, you have to be so bored, or you have to, I don't know, want to feel belonging to something so badly that you just pick one of these parties, which I know I've said it on the podcast many times before. This two-party system just is not going to work anymore. There's no reason for it. And it's not a hard fix, I don't think. I don't think it's a hard fix to just say, we're not going to do political parties and people are just going to run as independents, and if you like their ideas, you can vote for them. I don't think that's a far out concept. And it would fix a lot of our problems. And also just people caring about local politics more than what's going on in Washington would help a lot. And then just people being focused on their own lives. Focus on becoming a better person yourself and being more worthwhile in your community and to your family before you focus on how good of a person Trump is or how good of a person Biden is. Before you are worrying about them, worry about yourself. Once you have your life in order, then you can worry about what Biden did to some chick's hair. I don't know. You know what I mean? There's a hierarchy. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but it's just for your life. You just need to focus on you first and foremost. And then once you kind of have yourself figured out, then you can focus on other people. But you'll never have yourself figured out, and that's the beauty of life. You're always, from the moment you're born until the moment you die, you're always going to be changing, or you need to be changing. You should be trying to improve constantly throughout your life. So that is a lot about nothing, what I just said. But I just don't like when people make a big deal. Like, obviously it's crazy that Donald Trump, if that's true, it's insane that he only paid $750 in income tax. But also it's like, I don't like, because when something like this happens and you go on Twitter and you see everybody just whining about it, like every single tweet that you see is something about Trump and his $750. That's when it's like, okay, like focus on a career or something. Like focus on something that's going to better your own life. And I understand it's kind of like when it's somebody that's supposed to be running our country, it's a little different, and you should care about what they're doing behind the scenes. But also, they don't really run the country. The president doesn't have that much power. The people that have power are Congress, Senate, and my mic is just going crazy right now. So I hope this audio it can be salvaged. But in like 2 more weeks, I'm gonna have 2 beautiful microphones and a beautiful mixing board. Oh my goodness, this is literally crazy. I can hear it buzzing, so maybe I'll just keep talking so you can hear the buzzing. In a couple weeks, we'll have my plan for this. I have these nice chairs I got today. Very cozy, very much better than the ones I was using before. And right now I'm using this card table that's so wobbly. But my plan is I have some equipment on the way. 2 Shure SM7Bs, which I know none of you even know what those are. They're these really nice microphones that have always been my standard for mics. And I finally am taking this seriously enough where it's like, all right, I need to buy these. So I'm having 2 of those, the best mics you could get. And then the Rodecaster Pro, which is this mixing board that we were using at the last studio that's really great. Because right now I just have this freaking Yeti $200 mic plugged into my laptop, and it's just not hitting. So if you're worried about the quality, 2 more weeks, I promise you 2 more weeks we'll be sitting pretty. And also Matt's building me a dope table. We got measurements and everything ready. We're just waiting on lumber, because apparently lumber prices are skyrocketing right now because of all the fires, which is wild. Like, do we live in hell? I don't know. I don't think we do. We need to talk about that, because like a lot of people are having issues right now just because of life and what's going on, and they think we're living in the end times, which is just not true. Like, they think religious people think that Jesus is coming back like soon, and I just don't think that's the case. I know things are not the best, but they're never, like, life has never been good. Like, life, this is gonna sound super pessimistic, but life sucks. Like, I know when you look at certain situations in the past, like maybe the 50s or like the 40s, and you just see people dancing in the diner with the jukebox, it's like life was good back then, but also it wasn't, because World War II, not good, and they didn't have polio vaccines. And I know I've talked about this before too, but it's like life was never just peachy. Maybe when you were a kid, it was, because you didn't know what was happening, but life was never good. There's always something going on that is not great. You know what I mean? So I guess you could say this year has been worse than other years, but also it's like, just because it's more, I don't know, it's affected our lives way more, definitely, just with COVID. But bad things have been happening all over, and life just goes on. Like, there's just, I don't know. We need to get over the stigma that life is just terrible now, because it's not the same, but it doesn't mean it's terrible. And I don't like the COVID stuff, obviously, because nobody does, but it's just, I don't know what else you do. What do you do? You know, we talked about this, and that's kind of how I got in trouble. But it's, there's not much you can do. I don't know. Just get a pretty girl and grill a hamburger. That's what I'm preaching, man. Get a pretty girl and grill a burger on your back porch. There's not a lot else you can do. Stop worrying about Donald Trump and Biden and coronavirus and Black Lives Matter. Stop worrying about it, because it's just, you're gonna die. It's hard to, I don't know what's going on with me. I'm having like an existential crisis, but I've been thinking about how I'm gonna die. And like, it's going to happen. Like, nobody can escape that. And so it's really putting into perspective, like, what's gonna go, like, what do you gotta do? What are you doing with your life? Like, I'm 17, so I got, 60 more years on the planet? maybe that's best case 60, 70 more years on the planet of life, and some of you have much less. So like, what are you doing? What is consuming your time? Is it politics? Is it your job that you don't like? You just kind of got to put things into perspective for yourself. Nobody else can do it for you. And that's just what I've been thinking about. Like, what am I putting my time? Is what I'm putting my time towards, is it worthwhile? Is it going to matter? And right now, I don't know. I'm just doing what I love. And that's what everybody should be doing. And I know that's not really a kosher thing to say, because a lot of people don't have a lot of options to do what they love. But there are trade-offs in your life. Like, you can't, most likely I'm not going to be some rich and famous, like, celebrity podcast guy. You know what I mean? That's just not gonna be the case. And I've come to accept that. But if you want to do what you really love, and I mean, like, what you really love, you have to kind of get rid of the value of the dollar. Because a lot of people will have dreams and they'll chase those dreams until they have to settle down, start paying for their families, start paying. Like, you have to get rid of that. And in my head, I've already made up that no matter what, I'm going to do this. So if it so happens that I'm making 20 grand a year, that's what's going to happen. And I know that's kind of a reiteration. What I really want to do, and this is crazy, but this is what I'm genuinely considering. After I graduate, all my friends are going on missions for 2 years. And I am right now planning on going to college as soon as I get out of high school. I'm not planning on going on a mission as of right now. That could 100% change. But I'm also debating whether I should get an RV. This started as a joke in my mind that I would say to people, because people would just always come up to me and say, what are you doing after high school? You know, that whole conversation. And so I just came up with this thing that I'm going to get an RV and a trustworthy dog and travel the country and just live out of my RV with my trustworthy dog. And it started out as a joke, but then when I started thinking about it more and more, I was like, why couldn't I? It all started when I was at a Taco Bell in Michigan. It was this town right outside of Detroit. Nice little place. And we're eating at this Taco Bell. And I looked up at the little big sign thing, and it said now hiring. And I was like, what if I just got a job at this Taco Bell? Like, who's stopping me from getting a job at this Taco Bell right now? Other than maybe the manager. Like, it's not that, I don't know. You got to get rid of the value of the dollar, though. You can go into a certain field and be rich and successful more likely. Or you can do whatever you want. Like, I don't even know how to explain this. So the thought that came to me was, what if I just got an RV and a dog and just traveled to different cities and maybe get jobs there? Like, maybe just work at Taco Bell until I'm sick of that city and then just go on. Like, just be a drifter for a year. You know? Just be a drifter for an entire year. My phone's killing me right now. And I'm seriously considering that now. And it's escalated to, I want to do, at some point in my life, I want to take a year, build a nice studio in an RV, take a year, travel to every single state, and do one podcast a week in a state. Like, I'll drive, so I do a podcast in Utah, drive to Nevada for a week, do a podcast in Nevada with a person from that state. So we'll have different people from different states. And I just travel the entire country, state to state. And then every week I do a podcast. So like over the weekend, this is serious. And so over the weekend, I would drive to a new state and then record. I would have it preset, or maybe not. Maybe I just grab a random person off the street and just ask them about their life, which I also find interesting as a concept. Maybe I just do that. Maybe I just grab a homeless person and ask, what the heck? What brought you? Because I'm I'm interested when I'm standing in line at a McDonald's and I look over and I see a large woman with 6 children that are just terrible, and she's just getting a McFlurry. And I genuinely am just like, what happened up until this point in your life? Like, what led to this moment? And it's not just that, like, that was just a funny instance, but it's just like, sometimes I'm in certain places and I look at certain people, I'm like, where did you come from? Like, what's your life story? It would also just be cool to, like, travel to different places, and then just talk to people about their lives. A different person each state. Once a week, that's like 48 weeks, so that's like a year. I would only do the continental. I can't drive to Alaska. Maybe we'll do that another day. But, like that's the kind of thing that I'm genuinely considering. And what people don't understand is they can do that if they want to. Like, you don't have to go to college. You should, probably, most people, but you don't have to, definitely. If you're like, I don't want to go to college, I want to take a year and just be a drifter, homeless person, traveling from city to city, then there's nothing that is keeping you from doing that. Like, seriously. You just have to be able to handle the potential consequences, which maybe some of you can't. But I don't know. I don't even know what I said after this. I'm going to put the Kai Brown thing at the first so people can get to that, and then the rest of it you can skip because this is just rambling. But I'm just saying my thoughts because I didn't have much prepared for this. So, yeah, I guess just figure out something you like. I think I've said that on every single episode of this podcast. We've done 31 episodes. I think I've said that on every single one. Figure out something you like and then do it. Because there's nothing more to life than that. Really. Genuinely. And I think I'm going to wrap it up. I don't know. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. This was a solid 50-something minutes, I think. So, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Go follow Kai Brown. Nice kid. I appreciate him. Go follow me at Kendall Broc. Oh yeah, the new art, dude. Go follow his username is ON2M3. That's his name. Or that's his Instagram username. He did the art for the podcast, which I think is so sick. And the new name, Broc Gardner versus the World. So we rebranded the podcast finally. So that's what it's gonna be. Broc Gardner versus the World. Thanks for tuning in. Love ya. Peace out.